Hey everybody, Mike Fairborn stepping in today for Mr. Brent Morse, who is out. Folks, welcome to Managing an Options Portfolio. Great to have you on board today. We're going to be taking a look at Brent's existing portfolio. I did get that login from him, so I'll look forward to going through that, adjusting a couple positions, and then also looking at maybe some movers in the Mag 7, not just to the upside, but potentially to the downside as well. We'll look at broader markets as we go through this as well. But welcome to all of you. Hello to you, Paul. We've got Sharon, Kevin, Will, Kelly, and others. Great to have you all on board. Folks, I'm joined in the chat by a good friend and manager of mine, Scott Thompson. You'll see him in the chat as ST. You can follow us both on X. Scott's handle is Scott Thompson CS. Mine is Mike Fairborn CS. Love to have you on board. If you'd like to take a look at some of our postings, which are generally clearly financially related, and we'll look forward to this discussion with you all. So let's go ahead and dive on into it so we can get going here with some disclosures. So first up, options carry a high level of risk. They're not suitable for all investors. Now, we will be looking at multiple leg option strategies. Those strategies will involve multiple transaction costs, and short options can be assigned at any time up to expiration, regardless of the in-the-money amount. An ITM option does have a higher risk of being assigned early. Rolling strategies can entail additional transaction costs, including multiple contract fees, which may impact any potential return, and we do have one of those today to look at. All right, paper money software application for educational purposes only. Investing does involve risk, including loss of principal, and past performance is no guarantee of future results. So with that, let's go ahead and turn over to our visual here of our charts, and just taking a look at the S&P 500 just initially. In fact, actually, folks, let me back up for just 1 second before we dive into this. Just want to make sure you're all aware, and I think many of you have seen this. We are showing this week. We do have an event coming up, our 2026 annual event. And let me go ahead and point that out to you right now. So where I'm at, I'm just on our site, schwab.com/coaching. And if you'll go to that, so just /coaching, and scoot on down below under live webcasts. If you click on those on the live calendar, what you're going to find down below here, scooting on down, it is tomorrow. Go ahead and mark that on your calendar, folks. We do have the Schwab Coaching special event listed right there. I'm highlighting in yellow. It's never highlighted starting off with yellow. There we go. You can see a little bit better there. It's 7 p.m. Okay, and that's Eastern time. Schwab Coaching special event for the 2026 market outlook. Encourage you to take a look at that, folks. If you are interested, we'd love to have you on board with that too. In fact, I'll just post this into the chat so you can see this. You'll have access to it right there. All right, excellent. Well, let's get going. Okay, well, so back in to our general discussion, big picture here. I wanted to point out, here is a good look at the markets. As you can see, folks, as you're looking to manage that option portfolio, very important to consider what direction the market is facing. How are we doing on the markets here? In fact, trend-wise, we're up. You can see Brent's got a default here of a 6-month. If I just even pull this back to a 1 year, many of you already know, yeah, there's going to be this longer-term upward motion here, jumping back up above the 50-period moving average, which is very interesting. And also, just a quick note, you can see here that there might be a potential price formation occurring here. One thing for sure is we did rally up pretty sharply on the S&P 500, and we've just gone flat afterwards. And that can be interesting and I'll just pull this up real quick here too. I've got this right here. I wanted to highlight this. This was just an X post that I'd sent out because a lot of people are looking for the possibility of that year-end rally. Will we get that year-end rally or not? That's what the question mark's for. But there is the possibility of that short-term flag projection. You can see that right there. And sometimes you will get that lift towards the end of the year. And that's it right there, as you can see. So that's just kind of the price projection on that flag, as you've got it right there. And so this could be an observation that people are looking at. If you want to take a look at that, I'll just go ahead and just post this into, actually, let me just do this. I'm going to post this one in here. This one, hang on a second. Yeah. if you want to check out that photo for a price projection there. But basically, what we sometimes will get towards the end of the year is this. You might get them just up here into style, as you can see, clicking on style, going back down to chart mode, seasonality. That's your year-end kind of drift to the upside that sometimes you get. Sometimes it is retail driven as well, but perhaps there is the possibility of the flag pattern. And again, this is just the annualized view of what generally happens on average for the last 5 years. You'll see something very similar 10, 20 years as well. But that move right there with the possibility of a bull flag formation could be of interest to you guys. So park that in the back of your minds. Let's just jump back to where we were here. But there you have it. A quick note too, because I do have some of the Mag 7 stocks to look at today, but there is just some perspective there on the NDX. It does look a little bit familiar. You can also see that the 50 and the 20 period moving averages, folks, are kind of coinciding right here for the possibility of potential support if it were to pull back, but maybe there is the possibility of this as well. I'm just going to highlight it real quick. Shoulder, head, shoulder. Park that in the back of your minds as well for any option positions out there. That is an inverted head and shoulders pattern. If we were to see a dip down here, yeah, it kind of does look like that structure, and that too could suggest if the price pattern were to unfold, potential move to the upside as well. Okay, well, taking a look at what we've got here, and as I mentioned, Brent gave me the login, so we've got some positions to take a look at here under his monitor tab. And a few of these I was looking at here. I wanted to highlight one initially, which is actually a Mag 7 right here. This is Apple. And Apple, one of the stronger performers, clearly, out of even the Mag 7 group. And you can see that position that actually Brent has on is profitable. I'm just going to close that position up so you can see it. It's up to the tune of $372, but you can see that we've if I open up that Apple, we've got just a few days left. It's the December 19 contract. It could be one to consider rolling out if, and this is a big if we like the setup on the chart for a continuation of what we've seen here. Now, he does have over here 4 contracts. We could look to do something similar with that. I believe this is the days. Yeah, awesome. We've got that column right there. Great column to have, particularly if you're managing an options portfolio. Quick note on that too. He got that over here to the right where you can adjust these. Just click on the wheel. Right. Anytime you want to adjust columns, it's almost always the wheel in these areas. And if you click on that wheel, you've got it right there. And he's got days, and that is days until expiration. Very, very helpful. Nice to have as well. By the way, another nice one too that you might consider here. This is one that I know a lot of traders will look at. It's just something like theta. Just seeing what your time decay is. Like if I add this in, I'll just highlight this real quick because it does tend to fit with this portfolio. You can see, for example, what is the daily theta? It's $13 right here. Okay, it's bouncing around. It's now just below 13. But you can see for those verticals that I have on right now, that's what we've got. I want to show you this, what it's going to be after we roll this contract out for Apple, okay? This trade. So just keep in mind, it's real close to about 12 and a half. By the way, if you scoot down to the very bottom, you're going to be able to see totals, overall totals right there, or subtotal. I think that's just subtotals here. Okay, so anyways, you're getting it. It's broken down into each segment. So you got 13 here, 10 here, on down the line. You can see basically Brent within this portfolio is selling time, right? He's selling time, generally speaking. Because this is positive theta. This is negative. So no, these are actually long positions. And you can see that's a long call. So right over here, it's a minus. So this is a deduction on the day. This is a deduction. So everything else, aside from there you go, short put verticals or short verticals in general, is not gaining. In fact, it is losing theta. Okay, so that's just a good cool little reference. But keep that in mind. We're actually back to about 13 or so. But let's just see how this changes as we dive into this. So taking a look at that Apple right now, you can see though. Let's see, it was the 265 is the short leg. This is really quick and easy to do. If you look at that short leg over here with me, you can see there it is. And so that's really what's driving the gains in this account. It's the higher strike. It was sold for more, and that's your positive gain right there. So this is $4. It was 4, right? And we've the average price, and it's all the way down to, just under 50 cents right now. But like we said, there's only 9 days left. Is there something we could do to potentially close that out and take advantage if we thought Apple was positioned to roll higher, move higher? But let's look at that chart. A pretty strong rally here. You can't argue with the trend, folks. From the left side of the screen, extending to the right-hand side of the screen, that is decidedly higher, and so too are the averages. Just a good way to check on that trend right there. Higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. Take a look at it. So you've run up here. What do we have? We've got a general sideways range or a pullback range, right? But you got this here. You got this here. And what are we doing now? Well, we're pulling back. Gosh, we're resting right on those prior highs right over here. So there's your rally up. Consolidation back down. What's hidden within there is the 20-period moving average, and there can be a tendency to bounce off that level. I would also say that there was resistance over here. Corollary to that, of course, what traders will look for is support to occur here. We're right there. And by the way, what's interesting is we've been holding the last 3 days as well, right as we've approached that moving average. Sometimes there's a tendency, I don't know if you guys have seen this, but I've noticed over the years of trading, sometimes when you'll touch the moving average, it might just start to move. It'll be really interesting to see if that does unfold here. I think the bigger perspective that we've got that we're looking at, though, is clearly, folks, that trend is a positive. It's up, right? Higher highs and higher. This is a high. Higher high. This right now is a higher low sitting at support. It's a positive trend. On top of that, we might actually have a flag pattern here, like a bull flag pattern. So if we've got 9 days left and we're only down to, on that short leg, about 49 cents approximately, right? What else could we do if we were to close this position out, harvest those gains, and go out an additional month in time and see what else we might have over here? So we could still look at, well, some of these levels. Okay, so let's take a look. So a lot of times, traders will be looking at the delta of about a 0.2 to a 0.4 delta. Okay, notice we're right in here. Ooh, look at that 0.2 right there at 270. Again, what does the delta do? The delta tells us for every 1% change, or excuse me, $1 change in the underlying stock, the option will move by the amount of the delta. In this case, the stock goes up. These are puts. It's dipping about very close to 0.2, but that option spread right there, that range, would be set to move down that level. But it's also an expectation that traders would look at. They'll say, wow, there's a 20% expectation that the price of the stock would go below 270 by this time frame. Interesting. Okay, so now what I want to do, though, let me get us some more room. Let me just narrow this down to 15 and see if I still get it. Yes, I do. Okay, so I'm going to go out here and I'm going to click on the Jan. We're going out 37 days, so we're just rolling it out to the next time frame. Traders will oftentimes too, we talk about this in our course, to balance out perceived risk with a premium. They'll go out about 20 to 50 days. A lot of them will when they're selling option contracts. We're right in that range right there, about 37 days out. If we come down here, there's our 270 and there's our 265. Let's see how these levels shape up on the chart as we look at the chart here. So back to our chart, there's our 270. Now, remember, the original one that Brent had sold was the 265. It was probably at a higher delta. That's our 270 right here. If we did have an expectation going down to about a 0.30 delta, right? An expectation would maybe traders might anticipate a 30% expectation only that it would go down below that level of 270. we could look at something like that. Okay, and then sell the sell the 270. We'll put a minus P here, and we will buy the 265 put. Okay, and let's see what that generates for us. It's certainly going to raise up in terms of our premium here, clearly, because here we are, we're back into the closer to the range that Brent had originally sold these December contracts, which he sold that short leg at 4. So he might have actually been at a higher delta than we are right now, but we'll go ahead and just choose that 30. Let's just do this. So if I click on the 360 bid, that's the 270 strike. It's 360 listed right there. It's the 270 strike. I click on this. Now I'm going to hold the control button down on the keyboard, and I'm just going to simply click on that 265 right there. So that gives me a 112 credit. Okay. 112, but remember Brent was doing 4 contracts. What does that look like? Well, we would just basically take that 112 or 114 in this case, multiply that up. You're probably looking at about 460-ish in that range. Maybe just slightly under 460, 454 or something like that. So that could be a consideration. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and roll that. By the way, Kelly says, yeah, Apple's been a pretty, a lot of times these stronger trends will they'll go up, they'll flag for a short period of time, they'll rest on prior highs, and then they'll kind of rally or near prior highs, and they can rally. In this case, we're right at that moving average. So we'll see. But that gives us a little bit of flexibility, right? With a trade like this, traders will be looking at this. Prices could go up as much as they want. They could go sideways. They could even go down a little bit, and the expectation of the trader would be trying to collect the max gain in those scenarios. Although we did say that short options could be assigned at any time, that's what they're looking at to stay above that strike price, and to be perceived to, not be assigned by holding above that strike price, right? Not be assigned early. So they're just looking for that up, sideways, or down, just to potentially collect that premium, that max gain. All right. So with that, let's go ahead now and just go scoot right back over here because we've got to roll this guy. We got to close this out. A good way to do that too. I mean, we can close them individually, or we can go right back to our monitor tab, go into Apple here, right click on Apple, create closing order. There it is. We just simply buy it all back right there. Wow, at a 0.25 debit. So I'm going to go ahead and submit this right now. I'm going to go ahead and just make sure we get this order because I want to put the trade on. Let me just go ahead and put it into market right now. But wanted to look at the dialog boxes. We did that. Okay, so we looked at that and closed it out. So now let's go back in here and roll that position. Remember, a roll is simply just closing one out and closing one and opening a new. And generally that's going to be out further in time, and those strike prices can be different too, but not in all cases. But if you're rolling, you're thinking about, oftentimes it's one of the two, clearly time or price going out into the future, perhaps. In this case, we are. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and click on that 270. Again, I'll hold the control button down on the keyboard. I believe if you're on a Mac, it would be the command button, but I'm going to go ahead and click on this right here. That is our credit right there. I'm going to go ahead and ramp this up to what we had with what Brent had, was about 4 contracts. All we're simply doing is raising this guy up. There you go, buying power effect. So 444 potential credit as you're seeing right there. Just looking at the dialog box. A margin requirement, a little over $1,500 right there. And that too, the beauty of these is that is also our max loss as well. So you got max loss, max profit, you got the break even, folks. Let's put that trade on through. So now we've just rolled it out into the future. And what I'm going to do is go back over to the monitor tab and take a look at this. Let's see. Our theta subtotals dropped because I think, they dropped temporarily. We've got a lot more at stake in terms of, it still says, I know why. I've got to move it into this box. I'm sorry. I'm sitting here looking at Apple zeroed out. I'm going, what's going on? It goes down here, And it looks like Brent might have some of these down here already. Do you see that? Yeah. So, by the way, you need to allocate them into different fields. I don't do a ton of options with the classes I teach. And so I, yeah, this is one thing you got to do. So we're just going to move this guy, move to group, and there are your short verticals right there. Now it should have an impact on our data up top. Still not showing anything yet. Okay. Oh, there it is. There's some there. Huh. Wow. Okay. Anyways, yeah. Watch that impact down the road. Okay. We'll put it that way. But there we go. We rolled that position out, and there you have it. I'm not going to save this theta column. It wasn't in Brent's position originally, so we'll just kind of keep it off. Okay. So that is that. Now, what we want to do is we want to move on into maybe another position. I was looking down here at this BMY, Bristol Myers Squibb. And as we look down here, you can see that Bristol Myers Squibb has it's under the long verticals column. And you can see it's not doing too great right now. This is one we might be able to adjust because there has been a bit of a reversal in a lot of the healthcare groups, generally speaking, companies. It's down about 286, but is there something we could do to maybe close this out and potentially put on a different sort of a trade? Here is BMY right now. Let's pull it up. And this is what we got. So this was the reversal off the bottom, and it started with actually a pretty good announcement here. And by the way, just looking at the news, which I did do recently, if you want to try to see if it might be, more of a longer term sort of reversal, there was some positive moves in terms of not just price targets, but coming down here and saying, there was a phase 3 trial that was passed. There it is. One its fifth. Yeah, it was down a little. It was in December still, nonetheless. But there is your move to the upside on BMY. So notice what we did do here on this stock. We did clear some prior highs. And that's a big round number that some traders will look for. We cleared that level at 50. And we're kind of resting. The last 2 days we've kind of bounced off it a little bit. But we'll see what happens at this level. But this also could be positioned for a short put or a short put vertical. Why don't we explore the two of those? The funny thing is it does, I believe this is don't quote me on this, but I think it could be a dividend aristocrat. So they've been raising dividends for 25 years consistently, each and every year. That's what a dividend aristocrat is. I believe it might be one of those. There is the dividend, 4.85. So maybe a little bit higher, because I can just look down here. Hang on, let me just double check now. Since I brought it up, 60, 57, 60, 62. Last 3 years they've been raising it. We can say that for sure. And by the way, a quick note, dividends aren't guaranteed to continue always into the future, right? Even though there's a history of them, some traders will look at that. They can be cut at any time. So just a side note, but that is, I bring that up because if we were to get an assignment on just a short put by itself, well, some traders might be okay because if you're getting assigned with a short put a little bit lower, this could be a position somebody could trade too. Just as a side note, your dividend yield, all else equal, if the dividend remains the same or goes up, you could actually get a higher dividend yield by purchasing the stock at lower levels, all else equal. So let's look at that right now, and let's just see where our deltas fall going out for that 20 to 50 day time frame. That's going to put us right back into Jan as well. So as we come over here, let's free up a little bit more space. Where are our deltas? So there's your 49. Oh, okay, so that puts us below the 50 level, which sometimes can be a level. It's like 100 or 200. Sometimes prices can, if you're below it, it could be resistance. If you get above it, could be support. Some traders might try to factor something like that in. But the 49 is below that level. So you're below 50 and you're, kind of in that delta range. 50 is close to the 0.440 delta as well. But there you have it. The one thing too I'd say with this is Brent's chosen is, gosh, we've got some liquidity here, don't we? We're already at close to 3.3 million shares. on the day. How are we doing over here on our open interest, though? Looking at that. Oh, look at that. So we're in the thousands. This is the 10,000s, but all of these are in the thousands right there. That can and often does tend to foster some pretty good spreads between the two right there. So where do we stand right now? Let's take a look at it. Well, our 49, what does this look like? What do you guys think on this? Here's just a single contract at 49. You get 92 cents. 92 cents as it stands right there in contracts, equivalent to roughly, it says right there, dialog box, $92. The buying power effect is 819. Now, the question is, do you want to potentially have ownership here? By the way, the dividend yield, like I said, if it stays the same or goes up, you would be buying, if it was assigned. So it goes, let's say it goes below 49 by expiration, whatever the case is, you do get assigned. You're buying at a lower price than you would at 51, $2 lower. So that could influence that yield. That's a consideration. Here's the other consideration. What if we did like a spread trade? Let's just do a 2 wide here. And you're going to notice, though, that it's going to change dramatically the buying power effect. So if I just buy instead this number, now we're only getting about half as much credit, but if I double this to maybe get close to and actually it's going to exceed that 92. It's at 102 now. Now look at our buying power effect. Coming down from 800, now we're at just under 300, but our credit is actually higher. And I don't know if you caught this because I didn't show it initially, but the max loss is the same as our buying power effect, 298. What was it over here before? Here it is. Max loss was 4,808. Now that just assumes it's a very, it's a low risk of obviously Bristol Myers going to 0, but it just still says, hey, there could be, it's not, let's just say you can lose more obviously on this relative to the short put vertical as it stands, as we're reading the confirmation dialog box, right? There's a difference there. So my question is to you guys, what should we do? And whatever you guys choose, whatever the group says, I'm going to put this into the chat, okay? Or an SPV. Okay, so I just started a poll here. So there's your poll. So let's see if we get at least 30 in here to get like a decent sample size here of the group. But that was it. Did we do the short put or do we do the short put vertical? You guys decide. We'll try to make them equivalent. So if we did the short put vertical, it would be, a couple contracts relative to, instead of the just the one here. And like I said, it could really depend on, do you guys want to own the shares or not? All right. Appreciate Scott getting our questions handled in the chat. Thank you very much, sir. All right, let's see what we got. Okay, we'll give it just another couple seconds and we'll just send it here. We don't have a ton of time. We'll just get it going. Okay, so there are the poll results. Hey, we got 24 results. It probably would have been similar, but about, yeah, look at that. 3/4 say the short put vertical. So 3/4 of you have it. Quarter says the short put. Now, by the way, just because I'm doing this and we're going to set up this one doesn't mean that you can't just do the short put by itself if you wanted to. As an example in this paper trade here. So let's do it though. Let's take a look at that confirmation dialog box, folks. You are at the 98 right there. It dipped a little bit since, but we're still above what we've got, which is a single short put. And there you go. There it is, 302. Let me just try that again. Yeah. Click and click again. There we go. So we've added in this for Bristol Myers, but what we'll do is we'll actually close that out as well. This is one that just, hey, we're kind of anticipating it maybe moving up. So on this particular trade, what do we have left? Still just those 9 days left. We pretty much, if it goes up higher, it's just going to work against us anyways. Let's just go ahead and close this one out. So I'm going to right click to close it all. What I've done is I've clicked on it to close that tab, and we're just going to close the entire position right there. You've got it. We're closing it out for about a dime, and there you have it. Okay, so we didn't want to carry two positions on there, but there you go. And that is our existing trade. Now it is a short put vertical. Okay, folks, if you're getting value out of this presentation, do me a favor and smash that like button. Be sure to subscribe to our channel as well. Love to have you on board with us. We've got over 173,000 subscribers, and love to have you there if you're not already subscribed. In fact, you can do that right over here. Go back, sorry. Right here in our Trader Talks channel. Okay. Now, one thing I wanted to show you guys as well is, we looked at a couple of stocks that are kind of maybe going to the upside. Here's one though, MSFT Mag 7. Look what we've got on it. This was interesting because I did some trades yesterday. In fact, I should point that out on the Mag 7 in this group. Right, well, there you can see it. It's right there in the thumb. Hard to miss. Swing trading Mag 7 movers. I'll go ahead and send this one. If you guys want to take a look at that class, just copy this right here. I can put it into the chat. But I do go through a few of these, and we talk about some of the details of the Mag 7, what makes it interesting as well. This is one we did avoid, but for a bullish trade, I'll put that in there if that's of interest to you, because we are kind of still discussing this Mag 7, which could have a lot to do with our initial discussion on the bull flag towards the end of the year. There's such a huge market waiting on the S&P 500. There's the Mag 7, Mag 7, Mag 7, Mag 7, Mag 7, Mag 7, Mag 7. So there you go. I think I just hit them all. But those are your Mag 7s right there. The S&P 500 is market weighted. So a lot of what we could see in that market rally going forward could depend on the Mag 7. One, though, that is not doing great is Microsoft. That's actually technically a lower high here, clearly a lower low. And from this point, folks, we've got a lower high, potentially a lower high. That's certainly a lower low right there. And if you guys are seeing this, this is kind of like a bear flaggish sort of a position. These are some pretty sharp sell-offs here. And one thing I've got to note is, just like we saw previously over here, look at this. Instead of finding support like we were looking at over here, like on Apple at a prior high, we're finding what was support now could be resistance over here, right? That's the question. We bounced off it a couple of times. We are below their 50-period moving average, and that 20-period moving average just bounced off that level right there. One other thing that I wanted to note here too is this is a cablode. Well, I'm sorry, not yet. At the end of the day, it could be. That's closing below the low of the high day. You guys heard that term? Probably not. Well, many of you have. Close below the low of the low day. Close below the low. Oh, let's see. Close below the low of the high day. Close below the low of the high day. Cablode. Sorry. It's a cablode. And that's what it is right there. And you've got it. Yeah, because this is the high bar and you're coming down below it. So it could be also a secondary sort of a confirmation that people would look at and say, there's your price action. So in that case, what we could do is maybe flip the trade around and do something like a short call vertical, right? Where we're selling maybe something like a 500, like over here. We'll see what those deltas look like. And we're buying the higher call right there. Buying the higher call. Sorry, That's a C, not a P. We're still in the calls. That is the short call vertical right there with maybe some pattern movement to it. If you guys are interested in this, I did create in ThinkScript a class actually on last Friday, and it was kind of a bonus little class, bonus portion of the class that people had brought up. But this is how I found this today, and this is it right over here. I'm just going to highlight this for you guys. Let me just pull it up if this is of interest to you to find those, because sometimes we will get some of these that actually will pull back. It was under the ThinkScript class. I'll just give it to you real quick in case you are interested right there. And this is the class. Actually, shoot, I've got to click on it because I've got to show you where something's at. If you click on it right here, and I do explain how it works. Actually, we talked about the cup and handle pattern too as well. But if you go under more, under the video, you'll find it listed right there. And that is the bear flag right there. You see the script listed there. I've actually got the weekly outside key reversal, which is the way we found some of those bull flags as well. But I'm going to go ahead and just post this into the chat if you guys want to check it out. It could be very useful for these short call verticals. The prior week, I actually did one, and you'll get that on the playlist as well. Maybe I'll just send out, I'll just send out the playlist, and that way you guys can see it. Because the prior week I did, yeah, this was the hold pattern over here. So this is the bullish trade. This is the bearish trade. You guys can check these out if you're interested. That is right there, the link for this. Could be helpful for finding these sorts of trades. Now, a quick note. I need to state this, even though you'll find those there. ThinkScripts aren't guaranteed for timeliness or accuracy, so I just wanted to highlight that. But this is the bear flag and bull flag. Scripts. Okay. And there they are. You'll find them listed under there, under more. That is specifically, though, that's the playlist. So you'll get, I wanted to make sure you got both of them if you want to check out one or the other. It's right there. Now let's dive into it. Here's the trade for that Microsoft over here. And we'll jump in. That is how that's actually how I did find Microsoft, this chart pattern. Because the ThinkScript finds the downward move like the bear flag pattern, and then the kablode at the end of it too, coming on down. So what we'll do, let's look at the 500, and let's go to that January time frame so we can fit more into our time frame slot over here. And where are we? So we're on this side, okay, and there's the 500. So in this case, right, we're above this level. There's your 500 right there. So what do we have? Well, we've got some incredible open interest. Of course, Microsoft, probably some very good liquidity here. I mean, a dime wide over here on the 500. Let's look at the 500 and the 505. And what I'll do is I'll also want to just look and just see what that delta is showing here for us too. So our delta's over here, right there. Okay, so 0.34 for the 500. So again, this is like the expectation that we would do just the opposite of the SPV or the short put vertical. And that is maybe the expectation is either down, sideways, or we've left a little bit of a buffer zone here for a possible even upward move, that 500. But look what's between where we are right now and that 500. Longer term resistance, boom, 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 and boom. Moving average, bear flag, 500 could be a big round number that could be tricky to get through as well. So although those numbers are not going to show up necessarily in your delta over here, we're adding to it by looking at those chart type patterns, using that script to kind of help us out a little bit and find some of these. So here is our 500. Let's go ahead and sell that right there. I'm going to scoot on down, and we're going to hold the control button down again and go for our 505 to buy. So sell the 500, buy the 505. Folks, there you have it right there. There's your credit at 150. I can see just in Brent's portfolio, though, he does multiple contracts. So why don't we do, I'll do 3 and let's just see what this looks like over here. Okay, so generating about 450, a little bit higher than 450, but that is your buying power effect. Okay, your margin requirement, a little over 1,000. That's mirrors your max loss. And there we got it right there. So I have to say this, not bad for all else equal. That is, it's not any sort of recommendation or anything, but think about this. We're dealing with a 500, almost a 500, approximately $500 stock. And that's what we're getting for 3 contracts. So that's the difference. But I'm just highlighting this because if I were to just take out and just show you what the 500 is, I mean, we're looking at a little over 1,000. Look at this. If I just did the 500 on the short put alone, folks, comparatively speaking, wow, 7,800 and change right there. By the way, the max loss on this, yeah, that's a real bad scenario because remember, there's no theoretical limit to an upside move. Keep on going. But look at the buying power effect too. You can see just the the benefit of putting in this in terms of defining that risk. Just adding that long call leg right there at the 505. Okay, oh, let me ramp that back up to 3 again. And we'll take a look at it right there. So again, this is trading the downward trend, potentially bear flag as well with the Kablode right there. And let's go ahead and we've read through that. We can see where our break even is. We've confirmed our prices, our levels that mirror what we've got down here. We're good with that trade. Folks, I've gone ahead and just sent that through. We'll see if we get a fill on that. All right, and I just heard it go through. Well, I'm going to leave you a bonus one for you guys to take a look at yourselves, okay? And that's going to be, you got it. We talked about that in the swing trade class, but it just, Google Alphabet, another one that's been kind of trendy, clearly. Higher highs, higher lows, a sideways range. Could there be the possibility for a short put vertical here? I'm going to leave that to you guys because our time is about up here, folks. But if you got value out of our presentation, definitely smash that like button. Consider giving us a follow. It's been great being with you all. And thank you so much, Scott, for your help in the chat. Love that. Appreciate it. And I don't think we had any surveys. No, I think we're clear on that. So it looks like coast is clear. Thanks so much to our production crew behind the scenes, helping this all come together here for us each and every day. On that note, you guys, hey, have a great rest of the day. And Scott has, oh, by the way, yeah, Scott has typed in an options basic class. A quick note on that too, just to highlight, there is be sure to check out Scott's class as well. So Scott teaches a great class there, and would love to have you guys join on in. That I think is options basics. Just real quick. Oh, that happens to be Cameron's there. Okay, I see. Got it. Alrighty, everybody, take care. See you next time. Bye-bye.